trash heap. However, I think that the beauty of the internet is realizing like these feelings that you have that you maybe felt like gaslit into believing were not real, or that you were overreacting, or you had people around you telling you that whatever you were feeling was invalid.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist as much anymore because you can go on the internet and you can say like I still have that feeling of like, maybe I'm overreacting, maybe this or that about the things that are happening right now. But then I immediately have that check of being like, no, the entire fucking world is up in arms right now.
Yeah.
So you're not wrong. You're not
shit
wrong.
Is fucked up.
You know, and
everyone's
shit
pissed.
is fucked up. Everyone is mad. So stop feeling like your feelings are not valid because of like whatever kind of deep-seated childhood issues you have. You know what I mean? So that's a beautiful part of the internet. I really do think that, or it's just like you can feel, well, it's the beautiful part and it's the scary part. It's like no matter what you believe, you can feel validated.
Sure. Yeah. There's that confirmation bias thing that keeps happening too. Where it's like, look, I've never been the person who's like blocked people. I'm just not. I'm like, oh, you know, we'll come to terms and shit, and maybe I can affect a change, or maybe I can say something that'll make somebody think about that and check themselves or whatever. But the truth is that anymore, you can't. And so maybe I've curated Facebook now to be my own confirmation bias, because I'm fucking sick of people who are just going to be blatantly idiotic. I'm like, if one more person tells me about fucking Aunt Jemima's Nancy Green story about how she was a fucking millionaire without actually going and looking that shit up and realizing that's not at all fucking true.
I mean, the internet is a blessing and a curse. That's what we're really getting at here, is because it's like there's things about it that I'm like, oh, it's amazing how much education I have been able to give myself because I have access to lectures. I have access to articles. Like I have access to information in a way I never had before.
Well, it's fire. It's fire. It's a tool. It's our fire. Yeah. You can use it to warm yourself and to cook your food and to better your life. And you can also burn the fucking house down. And it's how you use the tool that we have now, the internet, that shows your true character. Do you want to use it to burn the fucking house down, or do you want to use it to actually like cook food for your community or do something positive with it?
Yeah.
Because it is. Any tool that we have has the capacity for building something great or helping the human race along just as much as it has the power to destroy it.
Absolutely.
So I'm hopeful, because I do think I've also kind of curated my Facebook, where I'm just like, most people on here seem to be, you know,
really reasonable.
I don't know.
Let's really get it.
No, I know I've done that. Like I was telling Cassie the other night that I'm just like, I'm actually surprised I still have people on my Facebook page, because I'm like, how many revisions are we gonna go through? Because I unfriended a bunch of you. Like every couple years something happens and I see some ignorant shit and I unfriend you. But you know what? I used to be that person who would like chime in with like, oh, here's let me educate you. Here's some sources. Here's some stuff. It never worked.
Yeah.
And I realized that like if somebody doesn't want to hear something, they won't hear it.
They can't hear it.
So until they're ready to do that, the internet is just as accessible to them. All of this information is as accessible to them if they want to step outside of being ignorant. Like they have that opportunity. In the meantime, I am not going to destroy my own mental and emotional health by being exposed to this shit all the time. Like, I'm not doing it.
What would you guys do if you were dating somebody or married to somebody and all this shit came to pass and they were like, well, I mean, not all cops or whatever? What would you guys fucking do?
I was actually I'm in a group where it was a black woman and she was married to a white guy, and she's like, I don't know what to do. My husband is all lives mattering me.
Oh, what would you do?
I mean,
I don't know
I would
what you
like
do.
to say that like I know what I would do.
Right, yeah.
I would try and have a conversation with them because that is somebody, my family, I'm willing to put in the work on people I care about. Right.
So like, you're willing to put that energy into.
So I'm willing to put in the work. It would be hurtful. It would be incredibly hurtful, but I'd be willing to put in the work. If they're not willing to be receptive of that work and they're devaluing me and my life experience,
it's a deal breaker.
At that point, it is a deal breaker for me.
That's tough, man.
I feel
I'll tell you what,
the same way.
I do think it's funny because I have to bring it up because it feels right.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Go.
But we're part of a Drinkerinos community. There was a thread that was going around, and I've always been, I'm at the same rate, I'm deleting people, but also at the rate of like understanding that we're not all infallible. And there was a post on Drinkerinos recently that turned into like, people saying a bunch of memes, a lot of stuff. And it was a very anti-cop meme. I threw up a meme that I thought was very funny. And somebody came back and was like, I don't know if dick measuring is really appropriate, etc. And it was like how that affected that person. And I was just, and at first my initial reaction was like, well, it's just a meme. I was just joking. And then it was like, that person came back and was like, well, it's as if memes can hurt people's feelings. I was like, oof, you're right. You know what? You're absolutely right. And I didn't consider that when I posted it. I didn't think about it in that person's lens.
Right.
And it made me truly reconsider my thought process, because it was something I thought was very innocent. That, you know what, my point being this, people can learn, people can still learn. And I do believe that. I think that there are people who can truly still come to terms with something that they've done, understand that it's wrong, see a different mindset, and be willing to approach it from a different angle. I did tell that person, I absolutely apologize profusely, of course. But the thing of it is that it's not their responsibility to teach me these things. It's my responsibility to educate myself.
Well, you see, that works because you have that mindset, though. Like it works because you're looking at it from that place, which most people on the internet are not.
Dude, most
they
people
get
in real life
defensive. Aren't. Yeah. Most people get immediately defensive. They immediately shut down because it doesn't feel good to be told that you've done something wrong, especially if you didn't intend to cause harm. And that very often is what people will come back with, where it wasn't my intention. And I'm like, I understand that it wasn't your intention. However, you need to understand that like words still have meaning and they can still hurt people. And you did absolutely the right thing, which was to apologize. But a lot of people, they don't do that. They don't have that in them, or it's very difficult for them to get to that point.
Well, and I think too, and this person owes me absolutely nothing. And I want it to be very clear that I'm not owed a pat on the back for coming to this acknowledgement. The reason I'm sharing this story is not for anybody to be like, you did good job for you. My point in saying this is that we are all fallible, and we all do things that we, think initially we don't regard as harmful, but when we find out they are, that's all we are asking is to just be acknowledged.
I've had people reach out to me. I went to a very white school, 3,000 people, South Missouri, white. I was the only black friend in a lot of circles.
Right.
And I've had people reach out to me who I haven't had meaningful conversations with, besides like maybe a passing Facebook comment, in years, to say, hey, I recognize now that some of the things that I said that I thought were jokes, some of the things that went on, that were racially motivated in our group of friends that I participated in, were hurtful, and like that wasn't okay, and I'm sorry. I'm coming at you now and telling you I'm sorry. And likewise, I realized, having grown up in, again, South Missouri, in the theater community, where I had a lot of gay friends or members of the LGBTQ community, things that I said and did, that I thought were just funny and in passing, kind of like, oh, well, we're all kind of talking like this or doing this, that I now realize them laughing that off was most likely the same defense mechanism that I had when I laughed off stuff that really wasn't funny. And so I've reached out to them and said like, hey, I love you. I value you as a human being. Those things that I said and did, I'm sorry for those things because they contributed to your feelings of self-worth or not.
And you didn't try to make an excuse for it either. You know what I mean? Like, that's the other thing that I think is so easy to do, is to be like, oh, well, I did it because time, place, this, that.
Or I didn't mean it. Or, I'm not homophobic, but like none of that stuff where it's just like, no, that stuff wasn't okay. It wasn't okay. And it doesn't matter that at the time you didn't know any better because at the time you probably still hurt somebody.
Yeah.
So
and big picture is the big picture of all of this is that we're all in a place where we're being introspective and we're seeing a little bit more about ourselves, regardless of where or who we are. And I think that here's the big picture is this. It's not about not ever being fallible, not making those fuck ups, not doing the wrong thing ever. It's about doing the wrong thing sometimes and then following it up with doing the right thing.
Well,
and making sure that when we know better, that we do better.
Yeah.
And now that I know, that'll be a mistake I will never make again.
Your first thought that you have, that's your conditioning. Like, that's because we grew up in a society that, like it or not, whether this is painful or difficult for you to hear or not, the society that we grew up in was a white supremacist society. It was a heteronormative society.
Yep.
It was a cis supremacist society. And it is impossible not to grow up in that atmosphere and not internalize some of that stuff. So the first thing that you have, or the first, if you see a meme and you're like, this is just funny, and you post it without thinking, that's because that is our conditioning.
It's just not the lens.
The second thought you have, your corrective thought, is who you are. Like, that's who you are. It's you know, like, that's always what I've thought, which is just like, you know, it's, we all have to give ourselves grace. We have to allow ourselves to make mistakes and come at the rest of it with humility, you know.
And I'll also say that I think it's an incredible thing that you reached out to her to apologize, and that you've had people reach out to you. And I'd encourage, we've talked many times, and we even have an episode entitled Shame Receipts. We've all got them. We've all got them. And it's okay that, you know, every single person has that thing that wakes them up in the middle of the night. And I would say, like, don't do it for yourself. Do it for somebody else. There are some people that it would mean a lot to hear, like, an apology from, even this many years later. And I have some apologies of my own to give. We all do. I think it's a beautiful thing as humans, and we have the space now. I know I've said it on the podcast before. There's a lot of fucking shitty things about this pandemic, but one of the really beautiful things is that it gives us a brief pause to think about what it is to be human and to connect with people. We're all missing that connection. And if you have a second, shudder through that shame receipt and do the right thing and send out an apology. Like, it will really make a difference to somebody. It really will.
And don't expect a reply back.
Exactly.
Too. That's the other side of that.
Yeah.
You know what? If an apology is actually genuine, then you shouldn't need an acknowledgement back.
Correct.
You should let that live exactly where it is, which is that if you are truly apologetic, it should never have to be followed up with somebody's acknowledgement of
or forgiveness.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be
to
that.
kind of bring it back to dating. It's kind of like you have to examine your motivations for telling people certain things. You know, I see it a lot in relationships. It's like, what is your motivation for telling your partner XYZ? Is it to relieve guilt that you're feeling? Is it to make yourself feel better? Because I do feel like that is the slippery slope. I feel like you can get in the habit of like, I'm going to apologize because it will lift a weight off
will make
of
me feel
It'll
better.
make me feel better. And look, if it does, that's an added bonus, but that should not be your primary motivation.
Absolutely not.
For going to somebody and genuinely saying I'm sorry.
Sure.
You know?
Well, I'll tell you, like, I mean, we've talked about this before. Anxiety is a fickle bitch. And and even if I got an acknowledgement, it would still be something I would shame receipt myself up for like the next 20 years. Wake me up in the middle of the night. Oh, remember that time you post that stupid fucking meme, you idiot? Stupid. You know? Like,
Oh my
God.
That's like the one thing I think we all share in common is that we probably didn't get like punished super harshly like in our families, just because they're like, you'll punish yourself more.
Oh my God, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I know my mom knew too. Like, I know she knew because if she looked at me with disappointment,
forget it.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
And she wouldn't even necessarily have to say anything. It's just like her behavior changes towards you, and you know you've lost a little bit of like trust or respect or whatever. Oh my God, I'm devastated for the next like week and a half. Like devastated.
Oh, dude, I still have a shame receipt from my mom. It just popped in my head since you said that. My mom was getting ready for something. My mom always dresses impeccably. And my best friend Sarah was over and my mom asked me how she looked. And I was like, yeah, it's great. And then I turned my head and did a gag face in front of my friend Sarah and she caught me.
Oh, no.
I could cry about it right now.
I remember the biggest fight I ever had with my mom growing up. And I can probably count the number of fights that we've actually had on like one hand.
Right.
And it is something that I actually think about. I think about fairly often, like probably once a month. I think about this. And this happened when I was like 16 or 15. I was so mad at my mom because I wanted her to let me go to school. We lived in a teeny tiny place in Utah. I hated it there. It was like I hated going to school there. I made friends in a town that was like over the mountain, and that's where I worked. And I was begging her to let me go to school there, but I would have had to drive through this mountain 45 minutes to and from every day. And she was like, you just got your license. Like, I'm not comfortable with you doing that. And I was so angry. And my mom would like grade my like work, my paperwork. And because I was being homeschooled at the time because I didn't want to go to the school where we were at. And I didn't think she would see it, but I was like so mad. And I was like writing in my notebook and I wrote something about like how mad I was. I can't even remember what I wrote, but it was like, it wasn't like I hate my mom, but it was kind of like a very similar sentiment. And I didn't put it somewhere where I knew she would see it. I put it like in the back of the notebook, not thinking she would like flip through it that far, and she did. And she came in crying, but angry crying. And she was so mad at me and just like disappointed. And it destroyed, like broke open my like heart and soul.
Worst fight my mom and I had was when I was supposed to be staying the night at my friend's house.
Always starts that way, doesn't it?
And she was supposed to be staying the night at my house. And instead we went to a party at our substitute teacher's house.
No.
Whoa, that was really... What?
Absolutely not okay.
Yeah.
How old was this person?
He's like 26 and I was 17.
Was it Crystalia?
Exactly. No, like he was the adult having the freaking high school party, which can we all talk about those guys?
We all knew those guys.
The fucking Matthew McConaughey's. All right.
They said
and can we also talk about like how girls in high school always, I mean, at least my experience, like it was flattering. You felt flattered. You felt grown up. And you look back on it now and you're like, oh, that was a fucking predator.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Because your 16-year-old mind is like, exactly, so flattered by that. And boys are just not mature at that age.
Exactly. And so, yeah, she found out, like, Erica's mom, like, called her. And I came home. And, like, the only rule I had at that time was just tell us where you are. We don't care. You're an adult. You've proven that you have good judgment. You get good grades and everything. Just tell us where you're at. But they've been so strict for so long that you get used to lying to your parents.
Yeah.
You know,
especially if you have that fear of disappointing them, which I had hardcore. So even if like I could have told them what was going on, I still wanted them to see me as like
perfect
in a certain way. Exactly. And so I wouldn't tell them.
You nailed it. Yeah. So I wouldn't tell them I was partying at my substitute teacher's house. Anyways, yeah, I totally got caught. My mom and I, fight. She kicked me out.
Damn.
She kicked me out because I came home like all like yelling and everything like that at me. And then I yelled back at her. She slapped the taste out of my mouth and said, "Get the fuck out of my house."
God damn. You had some balls because I never yelled at my mom ever.
No.
Like I would get quiet.
The only time.
No, I don't think I ever yelled at my mom like that. I remember watching some friends do that and thinking, oh shit, my mom would fucking murder me.
Oh God,
I
exactly.
know. A couple days of living in a Chevy Corsica will teach you to fucking keep your mouth right. My mom was not having it.
Coming correct next time.
Exactly.
Mom's not having it.
Oh God, man.
Jesus.
Ooh, that was reliving some good shame receipts.
Damn.
Well, this is My Worst Date
Oh, yeah.
podcast. I'm Christina.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Cassie.
We have some new patrons to thank this week. Again, this month, all half of our proceeds are going to Black Lives Matter. So we're always really appreciative of patrons, but right now, especially so, because you're helping us with a cause that we are very passionate about. So we want to give a shout out to Vanessa Cubilo. Just became a patron. Thank you very much.
We would also like to thank Diane Robbins. Welcome. We're so excited to have you.
As well as Haley Sinks. So thank you very much. And I recognize Haley from the Worst Steve.
Yes,
group.
me too. I thought she was a patron already. I was like, gosh, her name is so familiar. And then I was like, oh, she's in our Facebook group. That's what it is.
Yes.
I sent out all of our Patreon stickers, pins, things like that were supposed to go out today. So that went out today. So
You guys should be
getting
receiving that soon if you haven't already.
Nice. So who should we fuck, marry, kill this week?
Let's do something nostalgia based. I'm looking at my teddy bear across the room, which made me think of that.
Chicken bear. Every time I look at your teddy bear, I think of the chicken bear.
Don't you dare do. Don't you put that on Teddy. Don't you put that on Teddy.
So, is for our listeners in the Facebook group, it had nothing to do with dating or really anything, but somebody shared it and I saw it and I was like, well, I can't go through this on my own.
It is horrifying.
I need to bring other people into this. And it was a teddy bear that was made out of chicken skin.
Sewn together like
it was
a
like
fucking
sewn together like a
monster.
fucking Frankenstein bear. It was
What in
horrifying.
the Ed Gain shit is that? That literally is like Ed Gain's
I don't know. It was like
teddy
a person
bear.
on Facebook Marketplace
no, it
trying
totally
to
is.
sell these, and they're like, you
No.
can totally cook them. And I'm like, oh god!
After your kids are done playing with it, what in the salmonella poisoning is happening at this person's house? Get out of here.
really awful.
Oof. So I was thinking like LeVar Burton, like Reading Rainbow, like somebody like that.
Somebody nostalgic from our
Yeah,
childhood.
yeah.
Okay.
We can't
All right.
do Mr. Rogers because we've used him
We've
before.
already done it.
What about dude from Steve from Blue's Clues?
Oh my god! Are you just trying to ruin my life? Like
Steve
but-
from Blue's Clues.
But this could be funny. So yeah, why
LeVar
not?
Burton.
I want LeVar Burton for sure.
Okay.
Oh my God,
I like
who
Steve from
else?
Blue's Clues. Who else? Somebody from one of those like kid shows.
Right. Yeah.
What about one of the Wiggles?
I never watched that.
I didn't either.
Perhaps a Teletubby. No.
Oh my God! What other show like that? Look, you hit mine. Mine would be LeVar.
Yeah,
Burton.
LeVar
We watched
Burton,
all
right?
of that. What was the guy? All I remember people wise from Sesame Street was
Gordon.
Yeah.
I know who is nostalgic from my childhood. You guys are going to think I'm a big dork, but I know for a fact that we talked about this on
Bill Nye.
No,
Oh, that'd be a good one. Sorry.
Bill Nye is a good one. We should do that. I was going to say Alex Trebek because we used to watch that all the time, Jeopardy growing up. But
Yeah.
Bill Nye, that's
That's
money.
a good one. That's
Yes.
a good one.
Yes.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, I've met Bill Nye because he was at Laurel
Oh, that's
Tavern
right.
once. He's very sweet. He wears bow ties like IRL
Super tall.
in
Is
real
he
life.
insanely
Yeah,
tall?
he's pretty tall and
looks.
is super skinny. And LeVar Burton, I went to the Geeky Awards like a few years ago and he was accepting an award.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Like
I'm in
he's
love with him.
fucking so precious. And the entire, okay, so this
We
is what
got
I
we
have
got
to
a
say.
friend. We got a friend.
Okay. All right.
We
I'm down
have
to fuck
The
marry
world's
friend.
too fucked up right now to be killing. We're
Yeah.
gonna fuck Mary friend.
But LeVar Burton was up there. He was accepting his award. He gave his speech. And then at the end of his speech, I'm going to cry. Like, I'm so emotional. At the end of his speech, he goes, butterfly in the sky. And the entire like
Sang with
place
him.
sang the song with him. And it was
chills.
like amazing. Like, it was such a beautiful, like, nostalgic moment.
Oh my
I fucking love him so much.
God. Okay. I think we're all marrying him, right?
I think, yeah, I was just going to say, I think I'm very positive about what I'm going to do.
Yeah, same.
I'm going to fuck Bill Nye.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Tall,
There's something about, I feel like he'd be really good at finger banging.
It's not my priority, but all right.
Very specific thing
It is
to be.
very specific, but that is the very first thing I thought about when being sexual with Bill Nye. There's something about his hands
Was
with
this
like
in your diary
beakers
that you wrote?
and so,
Hands with beakers.
Yeah.
Like that's what you're thinking
yeah.
about.
And then I was like, I bet he'd be good at finger banging. They seems like tall, thinny with like creepy Slender Man fingers. Where I'm like,
God,
I just
you're
have
not
to say,
helping this.
I mean, that's not cute to me. Like that gives me very weird imagery of
Yeah.
like, I don't like that. But I will say, in my experience, which is very limited,
tall, skinny.
Yeah.
they got a,
Yeah.
a situation.
Yeah. He carries himself too very, very confidently. He's
Yeah.
got really good scientific big dick energy.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you, I felt okay. That feels weird given what I'm about to say. Like I was going to say, I felt that when I met him in person, but not quite like that.
I felt his big dick.
Yeah.
Oh man, quite the hug.
I felt that energy because I went over because I am the worst at approaching people. Like
Yeah.
I just never ever do it. And I was with our friend Amy, and she was like hyping me up, and so we went over together. And
Amy's the best hype.
she's
man
she's the
ever.
best. And I was like trying to get the picture, but I couldn't get it. And so he just took my phone from me and like was like, I got it. And like did it himself. And it was like so sweet. But it was that kind of like, he is confident. He's
Without
got
being
confidence.
condescending, because
Yes.
there are some science figures that I can think of who are condescending.
I think we've used Bill Nye in this situation before with some of those.
Well, yeah,
remember?
Oh,
yeah.
yes, we did. We did Sagan. And mhm.
Where I'm just like, he's confident about it, and he knows more than you, but he's not going to fucking hold it over your
Yeah.
head.
No,
he's
it's
not going
gonna-
to be a dick about it.
No, and in fact, I feel like he'd be the kind of guy who'd be like, "Oh no, that's really cool. Let me tell you a little bit about it." Like in a very
Yes.
awesome,
He's
not
gonna
an
explain
actually.
it to you. Yeah, not an actually. He's
Yes.
going not mansplain. He's
Right.
going to explain it to you.
Yes.
He might get out a dry erase board and be like, "I'll show you what I mean."
And he'll
But he'd
be
be
like-
excited about it. He'd be like, "Oh my
excited.
god, dude, let me
Yeah.
tell you about this fucking thing. It's so cool." Like da 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 da. It's not like
know,
a,
he's
well,
gonna-
excuse me,
He's
but
going to show
actually-
up to the climate change protest
Yes.
with you.
Well, he's gonna, I have a feeling he'd show up to all the protests.
I might change my mind and marry him. Honestly,
Go for it, girl.
I don't know.
It's not a bad choice, really.
I think I
He
might
drinks a lot
have
of
to
gin,
marry him.
or that's what he drank that
Yeah,
night.
I think I'd fuck with Bill Nye long term. I think LeVar Burton,
Okay.
fucking him though,
All
for
right.
sure.
You know what I will say as well, and it made little me like very complicated feelings because of course I watched Reading Rainbow. I fucking loved Reading
Duh.
Rainbow.
It's
But
the
then my
best.
parents also watched a shit ton of Star Trek,
Star
Next
Trek.
Generation.
Yes.
And
Geordie LaForge.
Yes.
He's got
Geordie
that
LaForge.
fucking like eye thing over his
Look
eyes.
like a filter for a fucking vacuum
Oh,
cleaner or
we're
some
we're
shit.
still-
role playing that all day.
but still hot. Like
It's still hot.
he was like hot. Yeah.
Yes.
Makes for very confusing feelings.
It's very confusing.
Yeah. I'm going to be what's her face, the curly haired chick or whatever, and he's
Yeah.
going to be Geordie LaForge.
Yeah.
And we're gonna Geordie get down.
Yeah, I like
Totally.
it.
We're gonna
I
like
like
Geordie
it.
LaForge a new.
And then I got a friend, Steve from Blue's Clues. You know, I think I'm older than that. I don't think that I got into it. He seems like a decent enough dude. I mean, it's
Seems
fine.
like a stoner to me.
Really?
I feel like there was like a lot of rumors going
There
around that he
were.
like OD'd and all that
Yeah,
kind
there
of shit, but
were.
I don't think any of that was real.
I don't think so, but yeah,
Yeah.
that was the rumor was that like because I was at an age where I was still in like elementary school, but I was like upper elementary school, so I'm like, this is beneath me. I'm too old for Blue's Clues.
But if it's on,
because I had little brothers, and
Right.
so it
I mean,
would be
like, if
on,
it's
and
on.
I'd be like, well, I guess I'll just watch.
I mean, what if we
4 of
change
these.
it?
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
like back to back. But that was the big rumor was that he.
Girl, here's the mail. It never
Exactly.
makes
Oh
me
my God.
want to wag my tail. When it comes, I want to wail.
I don't know what you guys are talking
I
about,
had a
but that was
son at 18.
amazing. Yeah.
I
but-
had a son at 18.
Yeah.
But that was the big rumor was that he left Blue's Clues because he got replaced by Joe or somebody.
Oh, right.
And that he left because he had like a drug addiction and he died.
Yo.
That's what everyone said, but
Yeah.
I don't think it
He's
was
still,
true.
you know, he's still alive. I saw some article about like, where is he now or whatever, and I'm like, he's
You did
fine.
not OD and die.
He's fine.
He's
You
fine. He's just a dude.
But I think I am going to marry LeVar Burton.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that he is so precious.
He's
like
magical.
I just like he's got like a really like
amazing.
magical quality that you
Dude,
just feel good when you're around him.
His anger level on Twitter lately God damn.
Dude, it'd be kind of fun to get fucking LeVar Burton pumped up.
Dude,
do you know what I
have
mean?
you not seen?
Yes.
I haven't seen
Okay,
it.
during
I
the
haven't
break,
seen it.
during the break, you're getting some
It's
LeVar tweets.
Fire.
Oh, I love
yeah,
it.
it's kind of hot.
It
I think
is
it
hot.
solidifies you
Yes.
marrying him.
Oh, I'm into
This is where I was
okay.
going. Yep.
I'm into it. Done. We're going to marry LeVar. I am going to fuck Bill Nye. Just because I like that. He has like big dick nerd energy,
Yeah.
which I
love it.
appreciate.
So sexy.
I do appreciate. And I do think you are, it's appropriate that you married him, Christina. I see that completely because Bill Nye feels like the kind of person who is going to like sit up with you
Yes.
after having sex and talk to you about like fucking parallel universes.
I'm
and
getting
like
fucking hot right now.
Yeah,
that is my
exactly,
fucking
like,
dream.
and
yeah.
he's gonna be able to talk to you about it like on a scientific level.
Yeah.
And
You're like,
Yes.
call him right now.
Let's talk about why birds aren't real.
I love it. So and then yes. So nothing against Steve at all. He was like a big part of my childhood, or a semi big part of my childhood. I just cannot see. Maybe it's because I was a kid.
Yeah.
I cannot see fucking him
No.
like
Right.
in any way. I know he is like a whole grown ass adult, much older than me. Like I get that, but like he'll always be Steve to me.
Yeah. I can't get
I'd
into those
I'd let him
stalkers.
babysit my cat for me.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
He can
he'd be
come
a great
water my
friend.
plants
I
any
don't want
day.
to kill him.
No.
Great friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 I'm exactly the same. Yeah, I'm gonna marry fucking LeVar Burton, and we are definitely gonna play that Bury the Forge. Because that's what we're gonna call
Nice.
you know, little LeVar
Yeah.
is the Forge.
Oh my god. I don't think it's little. I'm gonna be
I don't
honest.
know.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Anyway, and then with Bill Nye, yeah, I'm gonna fuck Bill Nye.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fuck his brains out. But and then I'm gonna friend. Yeah, Steve. It's the same.
I like it.
Same. Yeah.
All
I
right.
love it. Oh, well, you guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with stories?
Sounds good.
And we're back. You want to kick us off with some stories, Christina?
Yes, I do. All right. This one's from Reddit. She goes, oh, geez, where to start? Actually, this is probably the weirdest. However, it's not a date in the sense of the word. So a few years ago, I, 26-year-old female at the time, moved to a new city with friends. I happened to live with 3 guy roommates, thankfully. So one night, a guy I had been chatting with on Tinder wanted to come over and just hang out. I expressed that I was not looking for anything sexual or romantic that night. I was laying on the couch in my PJs, grubbing away, watching Happy Feet.
Perfect.
I wish I had the confidence. When I think about all the dates I went on, you know, you still dress up a little bit. She's like, sure, if you want to come over, I'm fucking watching Happy Feet, whatever.
Well, I also wonder how old she is because I
She
feel
said
like
26.
Oh, okay. Well, then no, because whenever I was like, I don't know, 19, 20. Yeah, I definitely
Like-
would have been like, yeah, it's fine. What am I going to do? I can't go to a bar or whatever. I'm just sitting at home watching Happy Feet.
This all tracks. I think it also like proves like the level of interest that you have for
Truly.
somebody. Yeah,
Truly.
It's like I think not already super interested to begin with. So he promises 100 times he just didn't want to be at home and would be fine hanging out. I'm a social butterfly and was a bartender, so meeting new people is no big deal at all to me. He comes over and sits down and we start talking. He was a little weird, but normal for the most part, kind of had over-exaggerated reactions to questions and such. At one point I said, have you been drinking? And he looked appalled and said, fair maiden, I do not taketh in the wine.
Get out.
Maiden.
You take your fedora and you get out right now.
100 fedora, 100.
Sir.
No,
Fair
no,
maiden.
fair
You
maiden.
fair the fuck
Absolutely.
out of here.
There is nothing that I have not heard a phrase in recent memory that has been less attractive to me
No shit.
No,
than that phrase.
sudden Renaissance talk is
No.
not on my list.
Yeah,
of
I'm sorry.
turn-ons.
Are we at the Renaissance Fair? Because that is the only time when it is even remotely acceptable.
Yeah, I hate it.
Are we playing like a Shakespeare in Love role play in bed? No. Okay, so then don't do that. Yeah, so I started paying attention to the movie more than him because he kept going on about himself and how his brain was too immaculate to mess up with drugs, blah, blah, blah.
Oh my God, he sounds so awful. Like we all knew that one like straight edge person that wouldn't shut the fuck up about it.
I don't do drugs. We know, dude.
He told us like 20 times. Such a bummer. Then starts telling me about a sci-fi he's writing. I kind of tune out and start watching the movie, and all of a sudden, he grabs me and kisses me.
A surprise kiss by someone you do not want to kiss you.
It's the worst. Yeah. Nope. I say, okay, hold on. I'm not trying to be rude, but we talked about this. I'm watching the movie. If you want to stay, if not, you're free to leave. He says, oh, I'm so sorry, and settles back down. Not 2 minutes later, he grabs me and kisses me again.
Dude. Sir, that's assault.
Yeah.
Sir.
She's already said no.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
She says, I apologize and say it's best if he leaves.
Why are you apologizing to him? That's what
conditioning.
Sucks.
Yeah.
I know.
As someone, I'm such a people pleaser. It's so hard, and I feel such guilt. The amount of times that I've apologized for things that are not my fucking fault.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, and also, it's also the situation, right? Where it's just like we as women have all been in that situation where you're
100.
alone with a dude and you're like, how can I de-escalate this?
Correct.
Safely.
Why are we better at de-escalation than the police?
Oh, shit.
I said it.
I
said it. Honestly, if you're a fucking woman, you've been de-escalating your whole fucking life.
That's right.
Truth.
Oh, sorry. Anyways, not to make it political, but I'm just saying. Anyways, at that point, he says, fuck it, stands up, and drops his pants so that I am face to face with his penis.
You should be in jail, sir. You should be in jail, sir. Like, that is assault.
Well, also, he's like lucky it's not with me because sometimes when people like, first of all, I'm
unexpected
kind of cross-eyed, exactly, and so like
right in the dick,
right in the dick. It's right there. You'd be like, huh, and you get punched. That's how you get punched in the dick.
That's exactly how you get fucking punched in the dick. God damn it.
Yeah, she says I have no idea how to react, but I do know you have to be careful because men don't react well, and I don't want this to get dangerous.
That's right.
So while sitting face to face with his penis in my face, he starts to jack off. I cover my face and start leaning down and pulling his pants up. Before this gets more embarrassing, maybe you should go. This does the opposite as he then drops to his knees. He is now face to face with my crotch.
No.
He shoves his face in my PJ shorts and bites my vagina.
I'm going to stab you. This is how you get punched so fucking hard.
I'm sorry.
I'm screaming.
I
don't want teeth down there.
No.
Anywhere.
No one does.
Definitely not invited.
No.
Unless that is your specific kink and you have discussed it beforehand, keep your fucking teeth to yourself.
Oh my God.
Even if you were having a consensual sexual encounter, unless she has specifically said, this is a thing I like, do not do it.
Yeah. No, I can't imagine that feeling good. No one has ever bit my vagina before, and it's not something I think about. Yeah, it feels like that would. I'm like, I want to hold and cuddle my labia right now. So you're okay.
It's okay, baby.
No one's gonna bite you.
I'm covering its ears.
Earmuffs.
So I start screaming and punching him in the head. 3 male roommates come running out of their bedrooms.
Yes. Thank you.
You think this is where he would pull his shit together. Nope. He starts crawling around my house, very fast, by the way, losing his pants. And the last thing me and my roommates see is a naked ass crawl out the door.
What?
Also, fast crawling is really creepy to me.
Yeah.
We can all agree on that.
Everything that happened there.
It's like a 1.5 speed crawling. Yeah.
I don't like
it's
that.
Not my favorite. No.
Yeah.
And also the image of him just like Porky Pigging it to his car, like because he would have had to have stood up at some point.
Yes.
Like she's on the elevator leaving her apartment complex, just like dick out.
No. Oh my God.
What a fucking creep.
That's awful. Okay. This is from Reddit. I met a guy on Tinder right as I was going out of town for 2 weeks. We chatted a whole bunch and hit it off to a wild degree. So I've known a lot of people who've been in that situation. You're getting ready to go out of town. You met someone just before that. And so the whole time you're away on your trip, you're like texting and talking.
Yeah. That's,
like,
that's what happened to Eric and I.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. I like that. I was super hopeful and excited, and at that point in my life wasn't really aware of how people who rapidly bond with you and say that they have a million things in common with you are actually bad news.
Oh.
So after 2 weeks of nonstop chatting and anticipation of the date we planned on my return, I was nervously thrilled about finally meeting him for said date. He showed up at my house. Dumb move on my part, number one, to pick me up, and immediately was super weird. He did a strange grabby hug and then shook my hand.
What?
And was grinding his teeth.
Oh,
and
that sounds like
clearly super coked.
Yeah,
I was
going to say,
I was like,
that's cocaine.
Yeah, you are in an upper.
Yeah,
if you're doing that weird jaw side to side.
Hi, how are you doing?
Waving, shaking hands. And you're like, I'm uncomfy.
Did he bump bellies with you too?
Fist bump. He was also hella weird about my roommate when he said hi and kept repeating himself and just being weird.
Oh.
Mistake number 2 on my part was actually still going on the date. I felt I had to give it a chance based on our interaction so far and tried to make excuses for him, like maybe he was just nervous, etc. While
Maybe it's cocaine.
Definitely cocaine.
Well, the date we had planned didn't happen. He said he wasn't feeling food at the moment.
Oh,
wonder
really?
why.
Yeah.
Definitely cocaine.
And wondered if he could show me his favorite bar. I was thinking that maybe the date would be over quicker in that case, so I was down. After a couple of drinks, he was actually being super charming and engaging again.
Oh, the downer canceling it out. It's like, hey, takes him down a few notches. It's just not a good idea to do coke on a first date.
At all.
Ever. It certainly isn't doing it by yourself before going on a date.
Right?
Because if you think you're being subtle and that no one knows,
you shook
everyone
her
knows.
Hand, brah. She knows.
Everyone knows after you're on cocaine. We all know you're on coke.
Yeah, we see it. She says, the same over-the-top bonding that I now recognize as a hallmark of abusers and people with interpersonal/boundary issues. Mm-hmm. So I was thinking maybe he was actually fine and it was just the coke that made him so off-putting before. At this point, I was also just drunkenly optimistic and was curious about the physical aspects of things, which led to mistake number 3. Going home with him.
Oh, no.
Coke dig.
We got to his house and he went to the bathroom and apparently did more coke because he was off the walls horrible again. Just really manic and grandiose and over the top. He showed me his juggling skills.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Don't bring out puppets. Don't bring out the puppets. Here we go.
And then...
Oh, no. No skills. This isn't a talent show. It's just dating. Jesus Christ.
Christina.
A talent show.
Oh, Christina. Oh, honey. Okay. Then he showed me some art of his and asked if he could draw me.
Oh, God.
No.
I was kind of uncomfortable, but also was curious about his art skills, so I went along with it.
Oh, my God.
She says,
me like one of your French girls.
She said, this motherfucker literally looked straight at me the entire time while he scribbled furiously for about 30 seconds on a sketch pad. Then he showed me and I laughed because I thought he was joking because the sketches he had shown me before were like actual sketches.
And this was
a bizarre
fever
scribble.
dream. Yeah.
Oh, no.
It was not a joke, and he was unhappy and pouted about it. This baffled me, but I apologized and changed the subject to a guitar I saw in the corner.
Oh,
That was mistake number 4.
Oh no.
Never point out the guitar.
You are getting a fucking coked out rendition of Wonderwall immediately, if not sooner.
Yeah, you're gonna get some Ed Sheeran sang in your face.
Oh God.
He serenaded me horribly for like 7 entire painfully horrible eye contact filled minutes.
Oh
God.
No.
I literally started making out
Stairway to Heaven. Jesus Christ.
It was honestly, he was just free, like it was
it's
just
total.
improvising.
Oh,
He
no.
probably knows 5 chords and was just playing them in different combinations for 7 minutes.
My spine fell out a while ago. I'm like,
I literally started making out with him to put an end to my suffering. You know what? Honestly, at that point, I'm like, I get it.
Would
Just
I rather have bad kissing
Yes.
or awkward guitar playing?
Oh my
that's-
God.
Yeah.
how close is the bathroom to the
This
front
has
door?
been a V like eye contact heavy date as well, like,
Fucking
which
hate it.
I don't love.
You know I can't fuck with that. I have crossed eyes.
Your excuse for everything now.
Exactly. I'm like,
I'm
I
sorry,
have
I couldn't hear you. I have crossed eyes.
Yeah, I can't handle that.
We ended up banging and the sex was mediocre at best. I was so disappointed that not even that was decent. I think he pulled some more weird ego shit during sex too, but I think I've blocked that out at this point. At this point, it was like 4 a.m., so I ended up spending the night. Mistake number 5.
Oh no.
He
Oh,
wanted to
no.
go get coffee or breakfast in the morning, and
He did not go to sleep. He laid there in bed thinking crazy coke thoughts until you woke up.
You're
and was
really
like,
lucky that you didn't you didn't wake up to the floor just being scattered of a million drawings of you, just like sketches.
Oh no. Him playing softly in the bed.
it's like that Paranormal Activity or whatever, where he's just like standing
Rocking
up
back
there.
and forth.
Yeah, no.
I'd made the mistake the week before letting him know that I had cleared that day in case we wanted to hang out in the morning. So she had no excuses. There's no way she could get away. I kind of forgot how the morning progressed because I was just trying to make it through till I could go home. And eventually, I finally was able to snag a ride from my roommate who texted me to say he needed help with something. I was miserable and cried all the way home. I couldn't believe how much things sucked after being built up for 2 weeks. That is a huge letdown. You know, when you have a lot of expectations.
I know I had that same thing when I finally met Eric. Like the fucking day of our date, I posted on the worsty thing. I'm like, oh my God, you get wrapped up into this thing where you're like, holy
Please be
shit,
this person,
have
please be this
I
person.
built this up too much and I'm setting myself up for a huge fucking letdown? And I was fucking ready for it. I was so scared because do you get cokehead fucking
Guitarist.
guitar player or
Juggling guitarist. Blah, blah, blah. And then I couldn't believe I didn't just shut the door in his face when he showed up high as fuck. Many lessons learned. But amazingly, the saga continued with him trying to keep messaging me, and I promised I'd grab drinks, and I had promised that I would grab drinks with him again because I left a one-of-a-kind necklace in his car and needed to get it. I ended up having to pull 2 all-nighters in a row to finish 40 portraits. I think she's like an artist for Christmas gifts. He did well for about 12 hours and then got mad I was ignoring him and sent me around 1,800 messages over the next 3 days. Almost 2,000 messages. 3 days.
Yeah.
That's 600 a day. There's
Does he not have a job?
24 hours, 60 minutes in an hour. What does that work out to? Like
a lot.
it's
I can't
a lot.
math.
A lot.
It's
That's
too many.
fucking
And I always
nuts.
wonder, like, with things like this, like, do you ever see people on like Twitter and you're like, do you not work? Like, you're on here like literally all day, just like tweet. Well, maybe our
Right.
president does that,
No,
but I
it's-
wasn't even
it's-
talking about that.
It's 10 an hour. It's 10 messages every hour. That's like being
It feels like it's more than that.
I feel
But
like
I
it's
believe
more
your
than that,
math,
but I
but
don't
I just,
know.
like,
No,
just
I
mean,
don't
do you
either.
mean like 10 messages every hour without sleeping?
Yeah.
Oh, right. So just in your waking hours.
In your
imagine.
waking
Well, I
hours.
mean, if he's
Yeah.
doing coke, maybe 10 messages every hour.
Jesus. Okay.
Well, also, who does coke on a date and then isn't like, hey, do you want to do some coke?
A selfish motherfucker.
Rude.
Because honestly, I'm just like, first of all, it's weird to like, don't show up already coked out. But if you're gonna do it, like, share. Sharing is caring. We just talked about LeVar Burton.
It's a community drug.
I do feel like, yeah. Well, I mean, I just feel like doing drugs by yourself, period, is kind of weird.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like a communal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I stopped paying attention after he started accusing me of having a fetish for making men fall in love with me and then torturing them by ignoring them.
Okay.
Then I made the mistake of responding when he sent me a screenshot of a map and told me that my necklace was lying on the side of the highway there because that's what I deserved. He was like, oh, of course, now that your necklace is at stake, you respond. And I was like, no, you fuckwit. It's not at stake anymore because you fucking got rid of it. I'm responding because I can't believe what an absolute piece of trash you are. He apologized and tried to say that he was just hurting because he cared about me so much. Hashtag nice guy TM.
God.
And he couldn't stand the thought of losing me.
That's not how fucking love works. That's not how online dating works. That's not how any of this works.
It's not how any of this works.
God. I hate him.
I cut things off from there. Many, many lessons learned from that one Tinder date and the following week of interactions. Never again.
Fucking men.
Fucking hate that. Well, you guys are going to fucking hate this, too.
Oh, shit. I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Buckle up.
Yes, this is a buckle in for sure.
Okay.
All right. So, met a guy on Tinder. Damn Tinder lately, huh? And we really started hitting it off. We'd been chatting for a few weeks and even discovered we had a few mutual friends. I was pretty intoxicated one night and was feeling social and decided to call an Uber to his place. Once I got there, we talked outside for a while and ended up vibing even better in person. I opened up to him about my mental health, not mental health, my health problems. Mm-hmm. And he opened up to me about his older sister who had passed away from a very similar condition to mine. I was curious about his sister, but I definitely didn't want to pry. We walked into his house and it smelled like 1,000 dead rats.
I don't like
rotting
that.
under the floorboard.
I do not like that. Oh, okay. Sorry. Quick sidebar, but I just saw this today and it's something that we need to talk about. Should have talked about it at the top of the show. But speaking of something smelling like that, did you guys see the story? Somebody, I think, put it in our Facebook group about the teens who were on TikTok and they found a suitcase.
A suitcase of a dead body.
No.
Yeah. They were joking because they were like, I think we found some treasure. I think it's money.
Okay, pause. Hold that thought. Jesus, I want to hear everything about that.
Because it smelled bad, which is why they called the cops.
And it was a fucking dead body in a suitcase.
Dude.
And they were on TikTok.
They're like teenagers.
What?
Anyways.
All right. So, yeah.
Hope it's just dead rats.
I was still pretty drunk, so I tried to forgive because, hey, sometimes animals die under a house or in the walls and there's nothing you can really do about it. That is true. We had a rat die underneath our house one time and it was fucking disgusting.
Oh,
yeah, that happened.
I'm sure it can happen. But also, I feel like if you know that that's a situation, you warn somebody before they come in. Do you know what I mean?
You invite people over. Or
you just don't invite people over. But bare minimum, you let them know, like, hey, a raccoon died in my wall and I can't get it out.
I'm nervous. I don't like strangers. I also don't like smelly dead houses.
Right.
So
me neither.
I'm nervous.
Well, I start to look around and the whole house looks a little cluttered, like a storage unit. He takes me to his room, which is seemingly normal, kind of feminine, but that's cool. And we hook up. I ended up falling asleep there and woke up around 10 a.m. to the stench of death. I opened my eyes, feeling very sober, and started to look around the room. I noticed that only girls' clothes were hung in his closet.
Is this Buffalo Bill's house? That's what it feels like to me. Is this one of those, like... I'm concerned.
I start to assume that I've possibly been cheated with. Then I see a giant black binder on his nightstand. When he woke up, I decided to jokingly ask him, what's in the giant binder?
Polaroids of his victims?
Turns out it's every single episode of Golden Girls printed
somehow
out.
Weirder.
Somehow creepier. Wait. Okay, what do you have to do to print out every episode of Golden Girls?
First of all, you have to find them, which, by the way, difficult. Because I'm guessing you're talking scripts here. So he had to go
how many
find
fucking
them.
seasons of them are there?
So many.
There's probably just like a Reddit thread of just printed all.
Golden Girl. Wait.
He said he read it at work, and it's the only show he'll ever watch.
What job do you have where you can read episodes of Golden Girls?
Okay,
Dude,
so I asked him, what did he work?
Him and the coked out bro, they work at the same place. All they're doing is just sending text messages, playing the guitar, and reading Golden Girls
scripts. Okay. I asked him, what did he do for work? Something I definitely should have known at this point, and he dodged the question. I sat up and looked at the pillow I had been cozily sleeping on. It had no pillowcase and was covered in what looked like to be old blood.
Absolutely
It
fucking
looked like
not.
the blood had
Absolutely
been
not.
coughed onto it.
Oh my God.
No.
I started.
What in the tuberculosis
Exactly.
bed is
Exactly.
this? What year does this take place? This is from the Spanish flu,
Yeah, she
1918.
she coughed into a cloth handkerchief.
Oh no.
I started putting the unpleasant pieces together. I asked as sensitively as I could, "Hey, was this your sister's room?"
Oh my God. The
I
dead
noticed the
fucking
clothes
sister.
in the closet. He says, "Yeah, and this is her bed. I haven't changed or washed anything. It just makes me feel better to be in her bed.
I am so
This is
disgusted.
actually where I held her when she died."
Oh my God.
And you remind me so much of her. I really, really like you.
Well,
I'm gonna need you to get out immediately.
Your fucking vagina is haunted now. I think if you have sex in a dead person's bed, your vagina is haunted. And so
And then he casually tried to hook up with me again. Like he didn't just drop the most unsettling news.
oh my God.
I felt immensely sorry for him, but needed to get out of there. I made some excuse and left. I decided to not entirely ghost him. Speaking of ghosts, because of how bad I felt for him. He was clearly dealing with some really dark shit.
Okay,
We
but
kept-
like you are not a therapist.
Same.
Also,
right.
what was the smell?
Oh God. We kept in contact for a few weeks until I went on my Find a Friends app and noticed that he had clearly taken my phone while I was asleep that night and shared my location with himself. I called him and went off. This was not my first rodeo with the stalker type, and I was not dealing with it. He told me he couldn't believe I thought he would do that.
Okay.
So it accidentally shared my location with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'd been really terrible person for dumping him because his cat had recently died. I blocked him. After he said that about his cat, combined with his tendency to hold on to things, it really makes me wonder what that smell actually was. Let's hope. And though I hope he gets help.
You know what? The cat is the best case scenario.
Right.
Like 100% though. Like honestly, disgusting and disturbing. Like I love my cats to pieces, but
Best case scenario.
you cannot do that. But I mean, worst case scenario is like, do we know that the sister was like buried?
Well,
no, is this
here's-
some Carl Tanzler shit?
There's
Yes.
some fun edits here. So
Okay.
edit number 1. I found out from a mutual friend that his sister had passed away around 10 years prior to this.
Oh,
You fucked
no.
on 10-year-old dead person sheets.
Yep.
I don't even think like a person dying on those sheets is the worst thing to me. 10 years of
years.
fucking dead skin.
Well, that's
and
what.
mites
Yeah, that's what I
and
mean.
all
Is
kinds
like,
of shit.
look, shit happens. Like you can wash sheets or whatever, but like if you've never washed them, like somebody was sick and died on those sheets 10 years ago.
Also, people are just disgusting. So just him, 10 years of his dead
you know he
skin
sleeps on it all the time.
sloughing off on it, and whatever other
However
bodily
many other-
functions he has on those sheets. A decade of it.
Of all the women he's brought home that remind him of his sister that he's fucked on those sheets for 10 years.
Oh, God.
Jesus Christ.
Edit number 2, I forgot to mention this, but he was strangely turned on while I was using a nebulizer with my inhaler. He said his sister had one of those. I am 100% sure this turned him on.
My skin is
Oh my God.
crawling.
I'm
like,
peeling
I
my
feel like
skin off like
I'm
Black Swan style.
gonna
right
throw
now.
up.
It's fucking horrible. Anyway, the other one was another edit about Golden Girls was on the whole time that they were having sex.
I don't know why not in the first. Why you buried the lead? Why was that not in the original story? Like, imagine fucking while
There's-
Golden Girls is on. You
No,
guys.
No,
that is
fuck,
not.
fuck. The Golden Girls is the
No.
worst part. He's got his dead sister's
Listen, it's all bad.
Like
but,
in a shrine situation.
Here's the thing. It's all bad, but she knew.
Fuck to Golden Girls.
She knew about the Golden Girls thing. She didn't know about the other things till she woke up the next morning. But the Golden Girls thing, that was weird right away.
That's weird right away. She must have been pretty fucking drunk.
It's like, it smells like death in here, and fucking I've got Blanche in the background. Like, what's happening?
No.
That is...
smells like dead spirits.
Oh my God.
I hate it.
I hate that so much. Like, that's the worst story I've ever fucking heard. Like, that might be the worst one we've ever told. Like, I
want
don't know.
a psych profile on that.
Oh, God, can you fucking imagine waking up and your head has been resting and cozied up to a fucking
First of
pillow?
All, there are a few things that are more disconcerting than a pillow without a pillowcase. First of all,
I don't like that even without blood on the pillow. I don't love it.
Even if it's a clean pillow, I'm concerned.
I hate it.
But a stranger's pillow, no pillowcase, and there's blood on it, and who knows what else? Absolutely fucking not.
But we've also talked about this.
I haven't changed anything since my sister died.
Oh God, we've talked about. Is it a girl thing to love sheets and pillowcases?
Well,
Just
it was a girl's bed.
Clean bedding in general. I don't know. We've had this discussion about the top sheet, and we're all pro top sheet.
A top sheet all day, all day.
But Anthony he's too practical for the top sheet. He doesn't understand.
Eric hates it. He's just
Chris
like,
hates
you can take your fabric. And I'm like, this fabric is cool and delicious on my skin.
It feels like
crisp
cozy.
hug.
It's the same feeling as like a cold pillowcase. It's the same thing when you flip a pillow over and you get that like cold
Is there
pillowcase.
anything better than fresh bedding?
Yeah.
In general,
nothing.
Like, I just watched this.
Luxury.
It's fresh.
100%. Yeah. I don't know. There's something very disconcerting to me about like a bed without sheets or a pillow without a pillowcase. I just I'm uncomfy by all of that.
Can you? I can just literally imagine myself laying on this pillow, waking up, drool, wipey wipe.
Oh, you have all kinds of dust mites that have crawled into your mouth while you're sleeping. I mean, and also imagine like getting out of that when it's slowly dawning on you. You have groggy morning pre-coffee brain. You're trying to make sense of what's going on.
Probably a little hungover.
And it's slowly dawning on you what's happening.
Yeah.
And you're having to do that thing again that we talked about, like getting out of a situation where in your head you're like, oh, well, okay, then I guess I'm gonna go. You know,
when you're doing that like fucking
I started my period
math problem in your head where you're like, oh my God, 2 + 2 equals murder.
2 + 2 equals this house smells like dead people.
Exactly. And Golden Girls is playing in the background. I am going to be found by teens on TikTok in a suitcase if I don't get the fuck out of here immediately.
Danger.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Are you guys ready for my crazy in love?
Yes.
Now, we do have to fess up, and by we, I mean me, in that we did record this episode on Saturday, and I was really fucking excited because I had actually found one that you guys had never heard of, and I told you the whole story, and it was fucking amazing, but now you fucking heard it, and I have to tell it again. And I actually got halfway through a different Crazy in Love for today, but I did not get to finish it. So I am going to tell the listeners because I think it's a fucking great story. And this is the Crazy in Love story about the murder of Bobby Kent. So let me. And
you're lucky because I don't have a great memory. So from Saturday to now, I'm like,
it's Monday, just so the listeners know.
Exactly. Okay, so there was actually a movie that came out about this in the 90s, starring Brad Renfro and Nick Stahl, called Bully. So if you've seen the movie, that was based off the true crime book that was written about this crime. And so I'm going to take you guys to Hollywood, Florida.
Oh, Hollywood.
In the early 70s, in 1973, it was just this really nice suburban area of Broward County, Florida, where people that were kind of well off got to live. I mean, Fort Lauderdale's not too far from Disney. You can drive up there on the weekends. You can drive to the fucking beach. You're living the American dream. Yeah.
From Disney?
Fort Lauderdale to it's like
That's
3.5 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like 3.5 hours. I'm guessing. I went to Disney with Dude Face when we lived in South Beach one time,
like
and
4
we
hours.
drove. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, sorry.
anywho, so the
Not to
Kent
geographically get involved.
come at me, Florida, please tell me.
Excuse me.
Well, actually,
it's 3.35 hours.
Yeah, everything else we've said on this podcast is fine, but that's
Yeah,
the thing
that's
that makes people turn it off. They're
This
like,
is the hill I'm dying on.
unacceptable. I can't.
So, okay, you have the Kent family. The Kents are Iranian Americans. They had immigrated over, and they were a huge success story in the fact that Fred Kent Sr. had become a stockbroker. He had, really worked hard and had this real kind of strict upbringing with his kids where he's like, if you work hard, work harder than everybody else, you will get ahead.
It's a very immigrant parent kind of mentality where it's just like, we have to work extra hard. We have to be extra American. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like we have to be better than everybody else because we are being judged on a different scale. I feel like not that my family were immigrants, but like having Black grandparents, they were the same way where it was just like, we have to work harder. We have to be better.
Yep.
Like you can't go fucking around with all this other stuff. Like you don't have that privilege to do that. Yeah.
And then you had like the Puccios, who were just like regular suburban family, but they were also well off in that their son Marty, he was like kind of a trophy kid in that, he was a little bit of a surfing prodigy, and they were super proud of him. Marty was, the prototypical Florida dude where he was like bruh.
Yeah, he's wearing like a puka shell necklace.
Yes.
He's got like frosty hair.
I put the bra in Broward County, man.
Yes.
He does a lot of hair flips.
Exactly.
I can see it, yeah.
So him and Bobby grew up just like a block away from each other, and from the 3rd grade on, they went to school together, and they were best friends. They were so opposite though, in that Bobby was kind of stocky and dark, whereas Marty was thin and blonde. Marty was like the surfer dude. Bobby was the student and kind of like muscular and everything. So what's really weird is that they had this like incredible friendship from when they were young, but neither set of parents liked the other one. Fred Kent hated Marty because he thought Marty was a slacker. He was like the total dude bro and kind of like a stoner, and just thought that he was dragging his son down. Whereas Marty's parents were concerned because Marty was kind of on the quieter side, and whenever he would hang out with Bobby, he would come home with bruises, cuts, blood, like looking like he'd gotten beat up.
Jesus.
This is really, really weird because it turns out, even though Bobby was this certain way around all the parents and all the adults, and that everyone thought he was very respectful and everything, to the kids in the neighborhood and who went to school with him, he was an incredibly sadistic bully. In that anytime he hung out with Marty, if it seemed like Marty was getting ahead of him, like, Marty was this incredible surfer and Bobby wasn't that great at it, so he would like beat the shit out of Marty in front of his surfer friends.
When with friends like this.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like very deliberate then that he sought someone out who was quiet. It's that very like abuser mentality of like find somebody who you can very like easily manipulate and overpower. But my question is, when we recorded this last time and we were talking about this story, it's surprising to me that Marty's parents didn't put an end to this friendship. Because
exactly.
I told this story.
How good were your
last
parents
time.
at ending your relationships with friends, though?
Oh, good.
Were good
when they
at
wanted,
it. Yes,
yeah.
I mean, my parents. I had a situation where I was being bullied by friends in my neighborhood, and you had school friends and you had home friends that were like people who lived in the houses next to you, and with my home friends, I had 2 friends. who I hung out with all the time, like after school or whatever. And they started being like really awful to me. And like one time I came home after they were being particularly nasty and they were saying really terrible things to me. And I told my parents, and immediately my mom was like, you're not hanging out with them anymore. They don't treat you the way that you need to be treated. And you can't be friends with them anymore.
Yeah.
And I tried to argue it because in my childhood brain of like, no, they're my friends. They're my friends. And it is a mind fuck for you because you really care about, it's like an abusive relationship.
Exactly.
Like you really care about these
But
people.
that's what you need your parents to do is
They need to
is
step in.
to train you like how you're supposed to be treated.
You deserve to
right.
be treated better.
Right.
And so even though it was difficult for me, and they would come over to my house, knock on the door and ask if I could come outside. And my parents would say, no, she can't come outside.
Because you're fucking assholes.
And they went and told their parents, like, she's not hanging out. Like, look, whatever your kids, whatever you do, whatever you want with your kids. But like, Keegan's not hanging out with them anymore. And like, that was it. And so it's even though it was difficult for me, it's the best thing that they
definitely
could have done. And it's not trying to put blame
Right.
necessarily.
No, sure.
Like,
No,
but
but
it surprises me that they didn't, is all I'm saying. 'Cause
exactly
If
because
I was
it was
being
repeated,
physically hurt,
repeated.
if I was being physically hurt, my dad would have gone over there and fought his dad.
Yeah. My daddy's going to beat up your daddy.
Exactly.
The abuse was so bad, actually, that Marty would beg his parents to move. He would never outright say that Bobby was beating him up. He would do that, but he kept going to them being like, please, can we move? Please, can we move? To the point where Marty's parents actually sent him to live with his aunt in New York City, like for like 4 months or whatever. Just and he, the only reason why he ended up coming back is because he missed his mom and dad.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't have to fucking move away from your fucking family, your parents who love you, just to avoid a kid.
Right. And
Another
your whole,
kid.
and your whole life. Yeah. Like your parents, your school, like having to basically like adjust to a completely different way of living. Like,
And we're
that's
also
crazy.
talking about 80s Florida, where how does it feel? And I'm trying to empathize with being a boy growing up into a man, saying like, I can't handle this bully, you know, like this guy keeps beating me up. Like it had to have been like, because they said he never talked about it, and there was this like shame about it that he kept, you know.
well, and also, I mean,
yeah.
you know exactly what you're saying. Yes, yeah, there is this like, you know, hyper masculinization that like happened, and all of that continues to happen, especially with young boys. And so there's that aspect of it, and then there's also the aspect of like, again, it's like an abusive relationship, because just because somebody is abusive to you, it doesn't mean it takes away all of the positive stuff. Like you enjoy their company, obviously, or you wouldn't be their friend.
Right.
It can't all be bad, or you wouldn't be their friend. So then as a child, like when you don't have a brain that's like fully developed, you're trying to rationalize between these two things, and there are grown people who can't do that, like who have a really difficult time with friendships or abusive, you know, romantic relationships, who cannot separate that stuff out. So how is a kid supposed to be able to
cope with that? Yeah,
right. So I mean, and the older they get, the more like psychological the abuse becomes, where it's not so much even physical. That like, of course, they start to discover porn, you know, when they get into high school, and Bobby will force Marty to watch homosexual porn in particular, and force him to like make fun of it, but force him to watch it like constantly, and also sadomasochistic porn, to the point where they start sneaking into gay clubs, and Bobby pimps Marty out, like makes him like dance on stage and stuff, and he convinces him to try to find somebody that they can make a porn with to sell, because that was big in South Florida at the time, was like amateur porn.
And these are high schoolers, I'm assuming, at this point.
Christ.
Yeah.
And so they do find like a 40-year-old guy that totally like falls for Marty, because he was a beautiful blonde boy that was like generally just like everyone kind of described him as like quiet with a beautiful smile and everything, and just kind of a sweet boy. And so they got this guy to perform for them, and then they went around and tried to sell it to different porn shops. It's called like Rough Boys. And what's weird about it is that Marty actually, he has talked since about like dancing in the gay clubs and stuff like that. He was like, it was just really fun. It was really free. I actually started to enjoy it and everything. But Bobby would just put this like dark
twist on it.
Yeah. Where it wasn't just about being yourself or
right. Because at the end of the day, again, like he's an abuser. So it's not, he's not doing it for you guys to have fun. Like that's not what it's about. Yeah, at all. It's about like control, power and control. So, yeah.
I also think there's a lot of this that makes me think that Bobby had feelings for Marty.
Yeah.
That he was maybe struggling with figuring out his sexuality in a way that like he didn't feel like he could express due to the way that he was raised and everything that just expressed itself as rage. Not to excuse his abuse at all. It's definitely not appropriate, but
no, but I can totally see that. And especially like, never mind. Because I was going to say things we're going to learn later on, but let's not jump ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So all this is happening. They're going through high school, and the abuse starts getting more and more extreme because Bobby gets into lifting. He's like, "Do you even lift, bro?" And then starts like roid raging big time. And so then he would do things like go through the halls of their high school to like the special ed quarter, and he would make Marty like play almost like a catch game with a football around there, where the idea was to bounce footballs off of special education kids' heads.
What? A fucking piece of shit.
Like he was
God. And it really makes me wonder, like, again, not trying to excuse it. I also believe that sometimes there are just bad eggs who are just fucking born kind of shitty, but it makes me wonder, like, what was his home life like? Like, what was his life like that he felt obviously this compulsive,
like so powerless, where he had to then be so fucking brutal. It's clear,
because he's bullying everybody, which makes me think that like he had some kind of like absolute need to overpower people, to feel powerful.
It makes me wonder too, because like when you were talking about your friend, your neighborhood friends bullying you, it makes you wonder like what were they going through, like that makes them, what makes somebody act out that way is behavior that I'm sure that they've learned.
Yeah, or just I think sometimes, especially when you're in groups, it makes me wonder more about Bobby, because it was like a boy on his own, kind of like choosing to do this to everybody. Whereas like my situation, I feel like sometimes
there's a little bit of groupthink.
Yeah, where it's like you can feel this. I don't know. It makes you feel like you're part of something if you can gang up on one person. Like if it's like several people together. But yeah, I mean, it's all an interesting thing to kind of like take a look at.
Yeah. So towards the end of high school, Marty starts becoming more and more listless and more depressed. Like he is not doing as well in surfing anymore because he's been forced to lift weights and do steroids with Bobby. So his perfect surfing body has become a little bit bulkier.
Too bulky, he's too
now,
top heavy.
And he's not, exactly. He's not doing as well in surfing, and he's just really under Bobby's thumb. So
and those fucking steroids will fuck up your emotions.
Yeah. So he ends up dropping out of high school, and that further solidifies Bobby's parents' view of him, that he's just a fucking loser. And they tell Bobby all the time what a fucking loser his friend Marty is.
See, man, Bobby's parents, I'm a little like, you're putting a lot of like pressure on your child. Like, and it sounds like they were putting a lot of pressure on him for a long time. And again, part of me understands that, because there is more pressure on immigrants, on people of color to be better, to succeed. Like, I understand it, but also they're kids.
Yeah.
And you can't do that to your kids.
Right. Yeah. So Bobby ends up, he's still in school, but he's also like working as a clerk in a public sub shop, which is like their Ralph's. And he gets Marty a job there too. And that's where Marty meets his first like real girlfriend. Her name's Lisa Connolly. She's 18, and Bobby gives the okay that they can date because...
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, Bobby has told Marty like time and time again that if he dates girls, the only girls he's allowed to date are heavier girls. So...
Okay.
Fucked up on many
super
levels.
gross.
Wow.
Yeah.
But so...
Well, and again, you know, and this is what I was about to say earlier, is that like... knowing that was coming, or knowing that he had so much control over like Marty's relationships, to me is a further indicator that there was some maybe romantic jealousy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Where he felt like he had to control who he dated. So Lisa's only 18 at the time. It turns really serious really quick because they meet at like the beginning of 1993 in January, and it becomes hot and heavy pretty quickly. And it doesn't take long for Lisa to see that the friendship between Marty and Bobby is really fucking weird.
We've all had boyfriends with friends like that where we're like, why?
Why are you friends with this person?
I literally hate him so much.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Well, her first reaction as an 18-year-old whose boyfriend has a really shitty, weird friend who is constantly hanging around is like, let me try to set him up with my girlfriends. So that is a very 18-year-old reaction to be like, I'm gonna this will solve. It's not thinking ahead in any way. You're not thinking like, hey, if this person is abusive to my boyfriend, maybe he might be abusive to my friends. I just want him all for myself. So
If
sacrificial lamb.
100%.
Exactly. So she sets him up with her friend Allie Willis, who it only takes a couple weeks before she's like, two fingers, like, fuck this guy 100, because he fucking beats, abuses, and rapes her. And she's like, I'm not having any of this stuff.
Fuck.
Also, if I was Allie, I'm reconsidering my friendship to Lisa or whatever her name is. Like, absolutely, I'd be like, I don't think we're friends anymore, Lisa.
No.
Absolutely not.
No. And yeah, I keep trying to think back to 18 where I'm just like, oh God. Like, yeah. Where you're like, maybe you can change him, maybe, but even
I mean,
still,
I
it's just
definitely
like,
would have taken more bullshit at 18 than I would now.
Yeah.
Like, by far I would have.
Yeah.
Sure
but
wouldn't have been
that
taken
is-
rape.
it wouldn't have been taking all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
So Lisa is like, no, motherfuck that guy 100%. And then shortly thereafter learned that she is pregnant with Marty's baby and is like, okay, here's what's going to happen. I'm not going to have Marty's baby and have to deal with this fucking bullshit like at all. So she's like, beep, boop, 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 boop. Calls her fucking crew. She's like, meet me at Pizza Hut.
I'll be at the Pac-Man table.
I forgot they met at Pizza Hut.
She's like, we're at Pizza Hut. We have a reservation at 7 p.m.
Yeah, she's
reservation.
She was like,
the 90s, dude. It used to be dine motherfucking in.
she's like,
waiters
listen,
and shit.
everybody, go through the salad bar.
Yeah.
Meet me at the corner booth.
Grab a couple slices of pepperoni. We're gonna talk business.
But you guys do remember the table talk Pac-Man, right?
Fuck yes, dude. Pizza Hut was the jam.
And also,
Shit, yeah.
in these days of Corona, though, all I can
TM.
think of with like
In these trying times, TM.
in these trying times, all I can think of is how many germs were on that tabletop,
oh my
like
God.
rolly ball, because that's what it was. It was like that, like
That's how we all got chicken pox.
yeah, for sure. I mean, they didn't clean that shit ever.
No.
Between those and those red plastic cups, because every fucking
filmy.
Oh, they were
Chips.
so gross. Every Pizza Hut had like frosted red cups
And
that
they were
were
foamy
like
and gross.
They were foggy. They were cracked.
Always a chip.
I'll tell you what, if anti-vaxxers want to know why we didn't all fucking get tuberculosis, I want you to enter any fucking McDonald's place
Oh
ball
my
pit.
God. Do you know how many times I
And
put
that's
one
because
of
we
those
were all fucking vaccinated. That's why we didn't die, because that shit is nasty.
And not only is it nasty, but also like kids are nasty. Do you
Yes.
want to know? Like, I for sure,
The
I
number
can
of picked
guarantee you.
noses.
I can guarantee you, I put one of those balls in that ball pit in my mouth. Like, I'm certain that I did. I'm certain that I did.
Oh God, there's so many.
There's
Feet touching.
boogers and feet and snot and
all of that
everything.
shit. Bouncy houses, bare feet. Children's bare feet, just bouncing all over the place.
Yep.
Disgusting.
Disgusting.
We're just children of the 90s, children of the 80s and 90s. Like,
Yes.
we had the
And we could
grossest
do
childhoods.
that. We could do that because we were all fucking vaccinated. So that's what I'm going to say about that. So anyway, Lisa's like, all right, gang, let's do this. And so her fucking friend, who's still her friend, Allie Willis, is like, I'm there. Fuck that dude.
Wait, did you say what they were going to do yet?
No.
I'm sorry.
They're at Pizza Hut. Allie shows up with her new boyfriend, Donald Semenak, and he's like, yes, we're in. Fuck that guy.
How many
Lisa's
people are at this table?
Lisa, it's
They got
big.
the corner booth,
They had
dude.
to add chairs.
They got the L booth.
Yeah. And
So-
that server was at
The
that table
stuffing.
next by. That table next to them was so clean.
Exactly.
20 minutes just
All
cleaning that
ears.
table.
She calls her cousins, Derek Zerko and Heather Smalls. And then they also fucking round up the fucking neighborhood hitman, Derek Kaufman.
Oh, yeah.
20 years old. He's a
I'm
fucking
sorry.
The
quote unquote
hitman.
A
hitman.
20-year-old hitman does not exist.
Nope.
It
Nope.
does not
It's not a
exist.
thing.
He watched The Professional one
Once.
time.
Yes.
And he, was
And he
like,
just quotes it to his friends. He's like, I will find you.
Exactly. And Marty. And they get together and they're like, okay, so that's 7 people, by the way. They're like,
Jesus.
too many teenagers. They can't keep their fucking mouth shut for shit. There's no way. I can't keep my mouth shut and I'm a 30-year-old woman.
Yeah, don't tell
oh,
me
I know.
secrets.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, while this is happening,
I'm
I'm on the
texting you
group
right
text.
now. Yes.
Exactly.
Like,
with
you
memes,
guys won't
everything.
believe what the fuck is happening
Going
at
down
Pizza
at this
Hut.
Pizza Hut right now.
And I like have that fucking Parmesan dust cheap like
Yes.
breadstick in my mouth. Like,
Remember the like container of Parmesan that was like so fucking coated in like grease?
oh my God,
Disgusting. We were disgusting.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yes. I miss it. But so they're like, yeah, we tried getting him a girlfriend. That didn't work. So now the next solution is
Only
murder.
other thing we can do is kill him. I really feel like, is her name Lisa?
Yeah.
I really feel like Lisa really needs to work on her decision-making skills. Like,
I know. There's-
honestly.
They're like, we can't even trust the cops to do this for us.
exactly. They're ahead. Anyways, but yeah, I'm like, dude, outline it out. You know what I mean? Like, you
Weigh the
have-
pros and cons. Maybe make one list.
One
One pros
list.
and cons list.
Exactly.
That's all I'm asking you to do.
Play the game consequences. Just see what comes up. But so they're like, okay, we're totes gonna murder this dude.
Like, could you have maybe thought like, hey, let's give it like a year and maybe he'll go to college and then he'll be out of our fucking hair anyway. Like, why? Anyway.
Or just there's 7 of you and you can be like, hey, we don't fucking like you anymore.
We're not
There's
hanging out with you.
7
yeah,
people.
we can overpower you.
Yeah, exactly. Because
And look, not that I'm condoning it, but I'm like, if you had to beat him up, you could beat him up. It's better than murder.
right,
That's all I'm
yeah.
saying.
They're like, absolutely not. He's fucking done. So Lisa's like, here is the plan, and I'm like picturing it like Ocean's 10 or whatever, or
Yeah.
Ocean's
I
11.
hope Lisa had like a binder. I hope she had like those like highlighter sticky
Well,
notes.
it is the 90s, so it was like Lisa Frank.
Oh,
or
for
whatever.
sure. She had a trapper keeper.
Like a tiger on the front.
Yes.
The white tiger. She's like, here we go.
Here we go. Here we go, guys. And then she like takes a bite of the pepperoni pizza. She's like, okay. So her plan is this.
This is horrible. We
Is,
shouldn't laugh.
I know. There
Sorry,
is
but the visual of just like,
at a pizza and a Lisa Frank binder.
teenagers
trying to plot. It's so fucking crazy and ridiculous. But yeah, so she's like, okay, here's the plan. Allie, he likes you. So there's this construction site we like to hang out at. So we're going to say, like, you miss having sex with him so much.
Poor Allie.
I know.
Like,
I'm
Allie is
just
just
like,
sacrifice.
They're like, so Allie, what we love your role as is sacrificial lamb.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We're
Look,
gonna
you
go and
solidified that.
we're gonna have you be the bait again. That'd be great.
And I was
you
like,
could just.
Wait, but why?
But why?
I don't
And
enjoy
her
having
boyfriend
sex with
Donald is like, yeah, that's fine. Like,
oh, I know. I'm like, and Donald's never met this dude. So I'm like, yeah, he did a bunch of fucking crazy shit to your girlfriend. But still, I'm just like,
he raped your girlfriend, so put her in a room alone with him again.
that's
like,
a bad
what a
boyfriend.
weird
Yeah.
situation. Like,
So she's like, okay, so you're going to say, like, I so miss having sex with you. And while you're distracting him with sexual favors, I stole my mom's pistol and I'm going to shoot this dude. So they're like, sweet, let's do it tonight. They finish their pizza. They fucking call Bobby up.
sorry,
They're
a well thought out plan does not happen within like 2 hours.
And they were like, we're gonna call him. This is not the time of cell phones. So they went over to that fucking payphone at the fucking Pizza Hut.
They
and were
went
like,
to Lisa's
clink,
mom's
clink,
house.
clink, 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 with the fucking coins, and we're like,
And then they had to be like, talk to his dad first. So I'm
Yeah.
sure his dad answered the phone.
Hey,
They're like, is Bobby
Is
home?
Bobby at home?
somebody got another quarter. It's gonna run out. Get another quarter.
So they get him out. He's like, oh, yeah, that sounds great. And so they get him out and fucking put poor Allie up. And it's so awkward and weird. Everybody's in a weird space that actually, like, Marty, Donald, fucking Allie's boyfriend, and, like, Heather, like, deuce out because they're like, this is so fucking
Donald,
weird.
you
Donald-
piece of shit.
I know.
Your girlfriend has just been put up
I gotta,
as
yeah, like poor Allie. She cannot catch a break, man.
I
like,
know.
God, her friends suck.
Well, Lisa like
know.
had the fucking gun and she was like ready to do it, and she just chickened out. She couldn't do it.
Oh my God. If I was Allie, I'd be like, you're the worst friend of all time.
if I'm Allie, I'm like, where's
Oh,
that gun?
The
that you had?
memes that I'm like, all eyes. Like,
All I
no.
could think of, I know it's before MySpace, but like because of my high school experience, I would be like, you are no longer in my top 8. I'm
No,
taking you out of my
not
top
even.
8 tonight.
Not even my like when I expanded it to top
12.
12. You're not even there. So, anyways, like it doesn't pull through. She is heartbroken. She's like, it was supposed to happen. She's like, it has to happen tonight. So the very next night, they're like, nope, that was a dry run. We're all fucking stoked for this. This dude's got to go.
I don't know if Allie's stoked for it. She's standing in the back with her hand up, just like, excuse me.
So their plan again is for poor Allie
God damn it.
to be like, that was so good last night. Will you do it again tonight?
This fucking
I'm like,
it hurts.
baby angel.
I fucking hate it.
I
this
hate
is
it.
You know what?
fucking-
You know what happened here? She didn't have parents who told her, "Hey, you're worth more than those shitty friends."
I know, dude. I'm so
damn.
I'm so grateful. My parents did something similar to your parents, where they, kind of
You deserve to be treated better.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. And so fucking Allie does it again, but this time when she's distracting him, Donald fucking sneaks up behind him and stabs Bobby Kent.
That's
in
because
the neck.
Allie had a conversation with her boyfriend when she went home that night where she was like, "Where the fuck were you?
Mm-hmm.
Next time we do this shit, you better be in the back fucking seat. I swear to God."
Well, so Bobby is obviously fucking stunned and fucking scared. He just got stabbed in the neck, and he turns and looks and sees his best friend since 3rd grade. And he goes, Marty, like, help me. And Marty takes a knife and stabs him in the gut. And he's like, Marty, whatever I did, I'm so sorry. And Marty stabs him again. He is then stabbed repeatedly. And the final blow comes from the 20-year-old hitman, Derek Kaufman, who hits him in the head with a baseball bat. They leave his body there.
He's the worst hitman ever.
I know. Well, yeah.
If you're a hitman and you need 4 other people to help you kill somebody,
killed him first, and then you're just
you're not good at this.
Yeah,
this isn't a good job.
It makes me think of the dude from like I, Tanya.
Oh God,
like,
right?
Yeah,
Galooly.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, and it's tough here because it's like there are conflicting emotions with this because it's like, yes, was he an abusive asshole bully? Like, yes, he was. Rapist, terrible person.
But you're feeling those feelings where you're like, you can see it. And that fucking part in the movie where Nick Stahl stabs Brad Renfro after he's done all that fucking shitty shit.
Sorry,
and he still like calls out to his best friend and he's like, I'm sorry, what did I do? Like, that's because you guys are like me, whether you're human and you have emotions, in that even if this person is so fucking shitty, there's still that part of us that's like
empathy,
where it's like no one deserves what happened to him. No one. Because you don't know if he could have been redeemed. You don't know if he could have.
Yeah, exactly. Like it doesn't warrant taking away his possibility of being a better person.
Correct.
You know, like that's awful. And like it's hard to hear him say like, what did I do? Because we want to sit here and be like, how do you not fucking know what you did? Like, how do you not know what you did?
Here's the receipt, and it's a CVS one.
Yeah, but you know, at the end of the day though, like, again, abusive relationships are complicated. And even though he may know that he didn't treat Marty the way that he should have treated Marty, he still thinks Marty is his best friend.
Right.
Like, even if he was like abusive. So I can imagine that moment probably was horrible for him.
Yeah.
Like, not only just painful, but also like emotionally confusing. And like, it is hard to imagine someone dying that way, even somebody who did a lot of shitty stuff.
Right. So they think the alligators are going to eat him, but as you so astutely pointed out, 7 teenagers plotting anything will go awry in that.
Even a surprise birthday party.
Yeah.
Like,
the secret's out.
Yeah.
The secret's
like,
out. It was
a
that
maximum of 2 teenagers involved in that plan, and that still probably got out.
It was at Pizza Hut. The server already told like 7 people.
Yeah.
Like everyone
like,
knows.
God damn, you won't believe what's happening over at the booth number 3.
Exactly. So it takes only a couple of days before, you know, they've told everybody. Lisa's even told her mom by that point. Lisa's mom calls Derek Zerko's mom and is like, so our kids did a murder. Like, what the fuck do we do?
Imagine. Like, that has to be the shit that, like, keeps you up at night when you're a new parent and you're like, God, what the fuck
new parent?
happened?
My son's 23. Please don't murder anybody.
Yeah, that's got to be fucking
I'm like,
worse.
oh, did I fuck up that?
Yeah,
bad?
but imagine having to use, like, literally, imagine being, like, on the PTA and having to use, like, the high school phone tree to find Derek's mom's phone number to call her and be like, hey, our kids killed somebody.
Wait, I think Christina said our kids did a murder.
Our kids did a murder together.
They did murder. So they end up going to the cops. They all like turn on each other, and the end of the story is also kind of interesting in that Marty got the harshest sentence of all. He was sentenced to death, which was later overturned to life in prison. Derek and Dominic ended up getting life in prison without the possibility of parole. However, all the women involved, Heather, Allie, and Lisa, the mastermind, who everyone agrees is the mastermind, have since been out. They've been out for years now.
That's actually real scary. I mean, I would hope that a lot of this short-sighted impulsiveness on Lisa's part was due to her being a child and her brain not being developed fully, and like that's something that she can grow out of or learn from.
Right.
But if not, that's really scary because like she went from 0 to murder someone really fucking fast.
Quick.
Real fast.
And it's very disconcerting, the thought of having somebody like that just like wandering around.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I thought it was a good crazy in love story only because like you brought up that we've all dated that fucking guy that has the shitty friends that we were like.
My ex had a friend. We would get into like low-key arguments about him being friends with this person because I never wanted to be that person. I still don't want to be like that person, that girlfriend who's like who tells you who you can and can't see, who you can and can't hang out with, because like that's not cool. I wouldn't like it if someone did that to me.
But here's the thing. You can be the person that decides who you fucking hang out with.
True.
So at the end of the day, like if your fucking dude or your girl has a friend that you cannot stand, you do not have to be around them just because your dude is friends with them.
And that's where it ended up, where I was just like, you know where I stand with this person. I'm not going to lie to you and say that I like them because I don't. I think that they're trash.
Yep.
And I don't think that they're good for you. I don't think that they're making you better. So you do you, because you can make your own decisions, but don't expect me to act like I'm like super chill about it or want to be around that person, because I don't. And it is in the case of my ex, it was a situation where it was like they had been friends since elementary school, since they were just kids. And so he was willing to make excuses for a lot of that behavior. Because it was just like, you don't know him, you don't understand.
Maybe I know him better than you do.
Exactly.
Maybe I'm seeing him with fresh eyes.
Yes, I'm seeing him clearly. You're seeing him
through rose-colored goggles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. That's the story. And yeah, Bully is a fucking crazy ass movie. Definitely recommend it. It's by the same director that did Kids.
Dude,
so
Kids.
It is pretty intense. So and
Kids was pretty fucking intense.
Yeah,
Jesus
exactly.
Christ.
So there you go.
Yikes.
Wow. I mean, you know what? I will say, and this is not just me flattering you, I will say just as good the second time.
Exactly.
Really.
Thank you.
Just as good the second time.
Just as good the second time so that we can talk about Pizza Hut again.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it had to be said. It had to be said.
Because where else are you going to plot a murder but Pizza Hut?
Trending right now.
Pizza Hut
is trending on
Why?
Twitter right now because people are having apparently 90s nostalgia, Pizza Hut nostalgia right now.
Well, I think that truly...
When we post this episode, make sure you hashtag Pizza Hut.
Yeah, at them. Well, maybe they're probably like, I don't want to be reminded of the murder that was planned in our
beautiful Hollywood, Florida establishment
location. But I think it is funny. Like, speaking of Gen Z kids, they probably don't remember that shit. Like the fact that like Pizza Hut was somewhere you would go and sit down at, and there was a checkerboard tablecloth, and you would sit down at the Pizza Hut, and then like same thing with like Wendy's. There was a there
was a salad bar.
There was a salad bar. There was a potato bar.
Just think about telling your grandkids about like Chinese buffets. Or like hometown buffets.
Oh, because all the buffets are going to be gone after fucking COVID.
Yeah, they're going to have to be
done.
There was one, also, okay, controversial, maybe not, but that Soup Plantation was just like, got out just in time.
Yeah, they're
man,
because Soup Plantation would be under fire. Lady Antebellum had to change their name. Soup Plantation.
Dude, yeah, they were like up there with fucking Aunt Jemima and all of that.
Yeah, know that Soup Plantation was like, oh, thank God, we already decided to close down.
The number of people who are posting about Aunt Jemima, like they are all butthurt about a fucking fake character. You know what it is that it infuriates me the most is that I've seen more people upset. I'm talking up in arms, pissed off about this, but not pissed off that police are systematically murdering actual black human beings.
Yep. They're more pissed about
you guys.
Maple syrup.
God.
Here's the thing. That delicious buttery goodness will still be available to you.
What?
There will just be something else on the label.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it because, hey, don't get me wrong. I grew up on Aunt Jemima pancake syrup. That shit
we were a
is
Butterworth
delicious.
family.
Oh, Butterworth.
Yeah, we were Aunt Jemima.
Yeah, I was Mrs.
You were
Butterworth.
bougie then, because I feel like
that was more
expensive. It was in the glass bottles.
yeah. We didn't have the glass bottles in our house.
Damn,
You fancy,
oh
bitch.
man, I need to
Goddamn.
call my parents. They kept telling me I was poor, but apparently I'm Mrs. Butterworth's money.
They had priorities.
I got Buttersworth money, bitches.
They were like, you know what? We can skimp and get the great value, like Eggo pancakes, but we're gonna use the extra $2 to buy the Butterworth.
Yeah, because God forbid,
Fuck that log cabin.
We never had fucking name brand cereal in my life. That shit came in bags. That's right. It was like
it did.
Toasty O's.
It's not as good.
Toasty
Anthony,
goddamn O's.
Anthony
I had more Toasty O's in my life and never sweet sugary cereal. My parents were so oh my God.
Anthony keeps buying the big bags of cereal and I won't eat it. And he's like, it's the same. And I'm like, it is not, the same.
It's not.
It's not the same. And I remember, we'll get to the end of this podcast, I swear to God. But I remember, since we're on a nostalgia kick this episode, not the only time, but I felt the most poor in my life. Did your parents ever do this where you would run out of milk and then
Powdered milk. Yep.
the dehydrated milk?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
My
Powdered
mom
milk.
did that. We ran out of milk, and this would happen.
100%.
She always kept a box of dehydrated milk in the cabinet, so that if we were out of milk, and we still ate cereal, she would pour fucking water.
Yes. It's horrible.
Nothing will
I can
make
taste
you feel
it in
poor.
my mouth
The
now.
grittiness.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's never
cold
cold enough either because
your
it's water.
Wait, did your mom ever make, like, you can go buy fucking things of pre-made pudding. Why does my mom make pudding? And then why is it lumpy?
yeah.
Gross.
You know
what's funny to me? Like, you're talking about this, and it's funny because, like, growing up, my babysitter was on, like, welfare, and she would get, like, she'd get, like, government cheese and, like, government peanut butter, which is the bomb.
Yeah.
Still love that shit. I
Still
can't
slaps.
get it. Still slaps. So good. But I never ever felt like in my mind, it wasn't like she was poor. Like, you didn't think about that. Like, as a kid,
No.
you were just like, you never really thought about it.
I wouldn't have thought it with government cheese or anything like that, but I sure did feel it with dehydrated milk,
That
man.
damn
I was
carnation.
like, I will never do that to my kids. I don't care how poor we are. We're going to the store and buying some milk because, like,
God, that
that shit was gross.
I'm glad it's not just me.
Oh, it was gross.
No,
Woof.
that's
Horrible.
that's common. Yeah. Oh my God.
That
Anyway.
was a ride.
It was a ride. I have to say, like, it's just nice to be around you guys. There's
I
something
know.
different about recording, in person.
We should tell people that we did test negative, all three of us.
Yes,
and are
we
still
did.
still even quarantining regardless.
Yes, we're still social distancing. We're not going out. I'm still not going to work. I know you're not going to work. We're barely going out as it is.
And if we're out with masks on, always,
and we're always
very cautious.
wearing masks. So we discussed it, and we're feeling comfortable being around each other. We did go get tested. We're going to continue to be tested.
Right. You gotta, I think people are talking about making pods now where you do
like a circle.
Exactly.
Or like a
very small circle where you're all okay with the fact that the other people in that pod are responsible and all that. So
I think 6 is good for a pod.
Yeah.
6, 8. 8.
Yeah, because
you don't want, like, too many.
Yeah, and I really am, like, I leave the house to go to the grocery store. That's pretty much it. So it's
and
not
Green
like
Thumb, the nursery.
I went to Lowe's. I bought a new plant on impulse the other day.
Anthony's gonna freak out.
I did bring it home and basically, like, tuck it under my shirt, shovel it into the bathroom where it now lives. Of course, he did see it eventually, but also it's.
When'd you get that? I've had that forever. What are you talking
funny
about?
to me because I'm like, I'm giving away plants now, and I'm trying to be like, look at me, I'm giving away plants. But every time I didn't realize this about being a plant person until I became a plant person, is that there is basically a black market underground of plant exchange. And if you give someone a plant, it's almost like they feel obligated to give you back a plant.
in
So
return,
I took one to our friend Alex, and I was like feeling all proud of myself that I got rid of one, and he gave me
2.
He gave me 3. So I
there you
came
go.
home with plus 2 plants.
Oh no.
And then I just gave away another tomato plant, and she was like, would you like a strawberry plant? And I had to tell her no because I already had one. But then I'm giving away another plant, and she's like, I have some aloe. Do you want it? And I'm like, yes, I do. So,
Oh
There
man.
you go.
Oh man.
so it's just like because you can propagate plants so easily, people do that, and then they just trade plants.
Damn, this is a real thing. You
is
guys
where
are
we're
gonna,
going to
you're gonna
with the
feed
economy.
us with
Yeah.
this new. Once the purge starts.
Yeah, we're heading to Keegan's.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's when I made a Facebook post the other day about like giving away plants because I was propagating my tomato plant, and I when I prune it, I have this weird. I cannot just throw it away if I know that I can turn it into a new plant. And it did make me think, like, if you're food insecure right now, like everybody's struggling like financially, why not it's like giving food away.
Give plants. Exactly.
That's a great
Start gardening.
Great idea. Man.
Yeah. If you've got stories to share, or if you have plants to give Keegan.
Keegan specifically.
Anthony's gonna be pissed.
Exactly. Go to our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstatepodcast.com. We're so grateful to all of you guys that are listening right now, and we love you so much.
Cheers.